Note: I use my ATG gun for quickness during this video. If you try this project yourself, you'll get a much stronger, more durable result by using a wet glue such as PVA or glossy accents. My personal recommendation would be Aleene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue.
Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make one of these pocket art journals. This is the one you'll have seen on my blog, and you can see it's got pages in there. I've used ribbon to bind it here. You could use string, whatever you fancied, baker's twine perhaps. What you need is 2 5x5 squares of card, of chipboard preferably. I don't have any, so I've cut some squares from the cover of a paper pad, and I'm going to stick 2 together and they'll make my front and back cover. And you'll also need a 1/2 inch wide strip of grunge board for your strap. This is 5 inches long, which actually I'll have to cut to size later, but it's 5 inches for now, and a strip 5 inches by 2 inches for your spine. Now the first thing you need to do for your spine and strap is to ink them up to the colour you desire. So I'm going to use gathered twigs distress ink and an ink blending tool, and I'm just going to apply that until I'm happy with the colour that I've got, and I'll meet you back here in a moment when I've finished. I've inked the strap on both sides, and I've inked the spine on only one side. This side's going to have a line of adhesive down each side to help it stick to the front covers, as well as the brads that will hold it in place. And if I inked it, it doesn't really stick very well. It just helps to stop the corners curling up and so on. Now the next step is to cover the covers with pattern paper or cardstock. I'm using this design. I've got 2 6x6 squares to go on the front, the outer front and outer back cover, and then 2 5x5 squares to go on the inside of the front and back cover. So I'm going to take my cover, run a line of adhesive around the edge. Now I'm using my ATG gun today for quickness. Obviously I don't need to wait for it to dry. If you were doing this at home, you could use something like PVA glue. Just remember to only use a thin layer, otherwise your paper or card you're covering it with might buckle. So I'm just sticking this in the middle. I'm just judging it by eye, it's not too crucial. And then once that's stuck in place, you need to trim off the corners. Now don't cut right up against the point of your chipboard. Move your scissors out perhaps 1/8 of an inch or so. You'll get a better result. When you come to fold the corners over, you won't have a gap. So cut off the 4 corners. Again, I'm just doing it by eye, trying to get a 45-degree angle or thereabouts. And now I'll run a line of adhesive again along the edges of my chipboard. And then I'll fold these flaps over, and I'll use a bone folder to help me get a clean edge. So I'll just fold that over, burnish it to get a crisp fold, and then press it into place. So I'll do the second cover and I'll come back to you in a second. So here are my front and back covers. I'm not going to cover this side yet because we need to push through the brads and so on first, and then I'll use the inside paper to cover the brads so they're not seen. What I do need to do though is punch the holes in the correct places on the covers. So I'm going to make this my front cover and this my back cover. Now the template that you've downloaded, when you print it, will look like this. Each of these needs to be cut out. You can cut this out as one whole piece if you like. Obviously these are separate. So once they're cut out, you should have 3 pieces like this. One for the covers, one for the spine, and one for the pages that go inside. Now for the front cover, the 3 holes for the brads need to go against the left hand edge. And there are 2 holes here. This one is for the buckle to fix to the front cover. That hole is for the strap to fix to the back cover. So just line up the template with the edge of your cover. Again, this is based on a 5x5 cover. And then using your crocodile, line it up and punch the first hole, and I shall meet you back here when I've punched all the holes. So here now are my covers. My front cover has its 3 holes down the left hand side and a hole here for the buckle to fix to, and the back cover has the 3 holes down the right hand side and the hole on the left for the strap to fix to. Now I need to punch my spine. Here's the template for the spine. There are 8 holes to be punched in the spine, 3 down each side using the small hole on the crocodile for the brads that fix it to the covers, and then 2 large holes here where the eyelets go that the binding passes through. So I'll punch those now and I'll see you back here in a second. So here's my spine with its 8 holes cut in it, and I've also cut holes in the strap, one at one end to fix it to the cover, and then several holes for buckling it up to the front. I didn't use a template for this, did it by eye, but I will make a template, so you will have a template now if you've downloaded the template that I gave on my blog, so you can use that to help you position the holes on the strap. So to fix them together, I've got 7 brads here to fix the spine and the strap to the covers, and I've got 2 wide eyelets for the binding to pass through on the spine. Now before I fix the spine to the covers, I'm going to run a line of adhesive just down the left hand edge of the front cover, which will just help the grunge board to not curl up. So I'm going to just use a brad to help me line this up. And then line the holes up so they match, and put my other 3 brads in. And then bend the legs over. So I'll go and stick the spine to the other cover, and I'll meet you back here in a second. So there's my spine now bradded onto my covers with the 2 eyelets in place as well. And the last thing to do is to fix the strap in place on the back. I'm just going to round these corners off. Now it's too thick to go into a conventional corner rounder, so I'm just going to do it with my scissors by eye. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good enough. There we go, and I'm just going to ink the edges where the clean grunge board is showing through, and then fix that onto my back cover with its brad. There we go. So the last thing to do now is to fix the buckle onto the front cover. And I'm going to use obviously the brad that comes with it in the packaging. Before I do that though, I'm just going to put a little adhesive on the back of the buckle just to help it not swing around too much on the cover, because obviously there's only one brad holding it in place, so it'll be able to swivel. There we go. So there's our buckle in place and our strap. And obviously that's going to come around there and it needs to be cut to length, and I'll do that now. Just cut it there. And I'll just tidy it up by cutting the corners off just to make it easier to thread it through the buckle. And again, I'll just ink those to hide the clean edge of the grunge board. So there we are, there's our strap. And it goes through our buckle. And into place. So there you have it. Now, what we need to do now is to fix the inside covers in place. And obviously these cover up the backs of the brads, the legs of the brads. So just apply some adhesive along the edges. Obviously get as close to the edge as you can to prevent it curling up when it's in use. And then do the same with the other cover, and I'll be back in a moment. So now to talk a little bit about how the pages are held inside the book. I've used a piece of narrow ribbon for mine. You could use some string, some baker's twine, whatever you like. And basically feed your binding strip through the two eyelets on the spine. And then just make sure they're of equal length inside. So pull the two ends together and just make sure that they're equal. And then what I do with a journal that I'm using for myself, I just add pages to it one by one as I've completed them. But obviously if you were giving this as a gift to somebody, you'd want to fill it up with blank pages for them to use. Now there is a template for punching your holes on your pages. My pages are 4 7/8 by 5 1/8. So you have a little bit of a border around the edge of the page with the cover. So what we do is, from the back to the front, we take the ribbon through the two holes in the page. And then we take the ribbon back through the binding holes again to the outside. Pull it tight, and then you can just tie. I'll just fasten this quickly to hold it shut. You can just tie a bow in your ribbon or string, which obviously lets you untie it to add more pages as you need to. And there is your pocket art journal. I hope that you've been inspired to try making one yourself. They're pretty straightforward. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.